Okay, welcome back to Hangar 51. So here we are, guys. We're going to do the assembly now. Some more features here. Beautiful canopy. Oh my God, this is huge inside. XT60 connector. I did buy this one straight from FMS. So no EC3 connector from Horizon. This one came with an XT60, which is so much better than an EC3 because an EC3 will plug into that or an XT60, whereas if it came with an EC3, you'd have to run an adapter. So I love that. Super great. Battery tray, just like in the new P51. So we've got the beautiful battery tray in here. That's awesome. What I like about the battery tray is that you can strap the battery in the same place every time, and then it locks in place in the plane, so you're always going to get your CG back in the original place. I definitely love that. Yep, that you just clip it down, it automatically clips in place. Very nice, super nice, guys. No damage. Everything's perfect. So let's get with the build. Where do they want to start? So the first thing they want to do is put the landing gear on it. And I like that. Let's get it on its wheels so we don't have to worry about damaging it. It's a great idea. I'm going to use the book. Well, in a minute here, I'm going to use the book. Actually, I think I'm going to use the foam box. Let's see what we're going to do here. Alright. Let's get our hardware bag open. We've got a few pieces in here. I'm assuming these are more wing attachments, but I don't know. We'll see. These are definitely wing attachments. Don't know what this is. I only have one. That could possibly be landing gear. Right there. Let's take a look here. Yep. So this holds the landing gear in. That's what that is. We have one servo splitter, probably for ailerons, and a bag of screws. So let's get the bag of screws open and see what we got here. Alright. So what they're showing on the landing gear are self-tapping flat screws. And I only have 2 of those. And they're showing 4. So obviously that's not what they intended. And these are supposed to be 2mm, 2.08mm. Okay, so let's go through the instructions real quick and see what else we're looking at. Okay, well, we'll move on. We're going to have to deal with that, I guess. So let's use this. Okay, well, that's alright. This will probably be okay. Alright, so So this is going to plug in here like this, and these are going to go in here like this. And this is where they already said you've got to preload those nuts where these attach. So let's, the nuts are laying right here, so let me get the nuts. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 nuts. So it looks like we have 5 nuts all together. So that's interesting. So maybe those aren't the screws that I'm thinking they are. Alright, let's read on here. I see a couple of things that are possible. So we got 2, 4, 5 of those. I don't know why everything's coming in odd. 2 of those. Only 5 nuts. Alright, so the nuts go in here. So there's little hexed holes here inside where the landing gear pieces are. So you're supposed to insert these nuts into here, I'm assuming, which is a little tricky, but doable. There we go, got one. Two. Now these are these are nylon nuts, you know, self-locking nylon nuts. And obviously you want the nylon part outward as you put it in the hole. And the holes are hexed, so they have to be indexed exactly correct or they won't go in the hole. And that's what I thought was going to be tough. And the first 2 went right in, but here we go. Now we got one that's being stubborn and doesn't want to go in. Which is going to end up with me dropping it on the floor, or actually on the ground in my yard. That won't be good. Okay, let's try this over here. Alright guys, this is not looking good at all. Let's figure out what's going on here. These are the only nuts that come in the kit, so that I got, so they have to be the correct nuts. Okay. Very interesting. So what I got here is a little a tiny hex driver. I'm going to try to align it with that into the hole and pull it through. This doesn't seem to want to, this one doesn't want to go in the hole. There it goes. So that's a trick, you guys. Put your nylon nut in a small, tiny nut driver. Slide it in there to get it aligned. And then use this to drive it into the hole. Because my front two are being very temperamental. The back ones went right in. They slip right in. These front ones are not going in. You gotta, I had to literally shove them in there. They're tight. So, but they're in. Okay. So we got them in. So let's get this back in place. Like this. I hope I didn't ding anything up there when it fell off. It doesn't look like it. It looks good. No hanger rash already. That's a good sign. And get these lined up like this. Beautiful. Little red sticker there. I'm not sure what that is. Okay. And then these are the only ones that can fit through there. So these big long 10 millimeters are the ones that go through the and you need a hex driver for that. So let's see what we need here. I think that's too big. Yeah, that was too big. Let's try this. That's too big. Be very careful, guys, when you're doing this. I would suggest if you have an airplane stand, use it. This is very unstable. So don't do what I'm doing. Not a good idea. This might be. Let's check this one. Well, that's too big. That's too small. Wow. What the heck size is this one? Maybe it's this one. That's it. Alright. Not tighten them all the way, guys. Get them all started first. Always good advice. Don't tighten anything down till you got them all started. So I changed screwdrivers. These red-handled, the red one like this used to come with every FMS plane I ever bought. So I got a bunch of these. So I changed screwdrivers. It seems to, it likes these better. Making you work for it, man. These are a little hard going in. But I think we got it. Wow. So when this stuff bottoms out, it's in there. Holy crap. Okay. Okay, so that screwdriver worked better. I'm sorry, that one worked better for the landing gear screws here. That's in. Next step is they want to put the lower wings on. Well, we got it upside down, so let's do that. Got a wing spar to put on. I think the spars are the same. Okay, so the lower wing's on. A couple of screws. Now, I had one of the long 20 millimeters where the head was stripped slightly, and one of those 10 millimeters also. My tool was slipping in the head of the screw. So just be aware, you might run into that. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. If those were going to be screws that I was going to have to take off, like on the wing for instance, I would move them somewhere where they're going to be once and done, just to make sure you don't have a problem later down the road. Just FYI, apparently the quality of their screws are not what they used to be. I've never had screw heads stripped before, and I would say it. You know, it's not my tool. This is a brand new tool, my Blitzo tool, and it's super tight on the other screws. So I don't think it's the tool. I mean, it's you know, it snaps right in there tight. There's no wiggle at all. But I still had two screw heads that were stripped. You know, when I try to tighten up, really tighten up with this, it would skip them. So only two. One of the 20 millimeters, one of the 10 millimeters. So if you have to take anything off the plane and you have one of those screws, move it to a spot that you don't have to keep taking it on and off, so that you put it in and forget it. That's just some advice I'd give you, so that you don't have more issues with that. Okay, so we need two more 10 millimeters for the horizontal stab. So these are tightening up just fine. So it's not the tool. I had a couple of defective screws from the... Okay, so now the rudder goes on. There's a capture wire in the back that you're going to have to get in this slot right here for the tail wheel. Okay, so be aware of that when you put this on. You got a tongue and groove here. It's going to go under here, and that's probably where that other 20mm screw goes. Is right there. And then as you slide this in, you got to make sure you get the you capture the tail wheel wire, or you won't have your steering wheel ain't going to work. So there's a little piece of foam here that has to slide into between the foam and the plane. That's looking a little sketchy. Not exactly sure what the story is with that. Oh, there it goes. You just have to get it lined up. So this is a little tricky, guys. It's a little bit of lining things up as you put this together. Something's holding me up right here. Oh, I see what it is. Oh, isn't that clever? So there's a tongue and groove slide right here. So you have to get that down in there like that first, and then slide it in. So that's a little, like I said, there's a bunch of stuff going on at once here, guys. So this could get a little tricky. Okay, so you got that. Then you got to get this little piece in the back, and then you got to get the tail wheel all lined up as you slide this forward. Very very tricky here. So just keep inching it forward while you get the tail wheel in place. Not sure I like the way that's going together. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so I got that lined up, and then that 120mm, I'm sure that's what's going down through there, is the 20mm. No, it's going for a 10. Really? Wow, okay. So I still don't know where that other 20 goes. So there's one screw going down through the top here, and it's a 10. So, go ahead and put that in. Fits together nice, guys. I mean, the way that tongue and groove thing worked, and the little rail system, that tail's on. It ain't coming off. I can tell you that for sure. So that's cool. See how they do that. Well, that's clever. So once you get the thing in place, the tail wheel will slide up past a screw, and then you put a screw through it to hold the tail wheel up in place. You'll see that when you put it together. You know, you have to get it aligned, and as you're sliding it on so that it's in the groove, and then it will actually slide up into the bottom of the tail, and then you put a screw through it to hold it up in place. So that's very clever. That'll make sure the tail wheel can't come out. So that's real nice. Like that. Man, this is beautiful, guys. I love the kit. The little things, the little minor things are nothing to worry about. You know, like the screw heads, not a big deal. You know, nothing wrong with that. That's just a machining thing, not a big deal. Okay, so now they want to hook up the control rods. I'm not going to do that right now. Let's just get it built. Oh, those two plastic pieces. Okay, now these are stabilizers for the elevator. They go on the bottom side of the elevator in the back. And apparently they just snap in place. So that's kind of cool. Maybe I'll put those on. I don't know if there's any difference in them. No, they look symmetrical. There's a left and a right, but I don't think there's a top and bottom. I think they just snap in place. Well, okay. How's that going to work? They're not marked left and right. Okay, so they can only go on one way. So there's no, you don't have to worry about left and right. It can only happen one way. Okay. Yeah, it's just, you can sit there and fiddle with them. There's only one way they can go on. There's no way you can mess it up. Which is kind of clever that they did that. I don't know how much of actual stability that's doing, but they look cool on there, so that's cool. Alright. Okay, so obviously there's you can see the ribbing inside on the inside of these, so that's self-explanatory which one goes where. And these are also yeah, the picture's not very clear on which one goes where, but I'm assuming that goes this way. At least that's how it looks like. Maybe the box lid. Let me take a look at the box lid. That might help. Yeah. So if you look at this closely, this one's more of a regular triangle, and this one's got this big slope, and then the cut in the bottom, a triangle, so it's not a symmetrical triangle like this one. This one's kind of a elongated triangle. The elongated part goes down, okay? From what I could see in the instructions and what the picture on the box. So the elongated triangle goes down, and this part goes in where the rib is. And it's just like the missiles. You know, you put it in place and slide it back. And it'll lock in place. The other one went right on. This one's giving me a hard time. Wow. Looks like it went right on. There it goes. Okay. And you heard it click. So when it locks, it's locked. Alright. The last part is putting the wing on. And then a spar. This probably fell off the table. Okay, where'd that go? Okay, guys. So let's put this on here like this. And this in here like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and slide these in place before I mount that. So let's get these lined up. Okay, that didn't click in, but it's on. I just didn't get that positive click. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, and then we've got 2 wing hold downs, which look identical. So I'm assuming that there isn't a front and back. They're just the same. They're not marked front or back. They're exactly the same. They are angled. Okay, and this one is angled more than the other one, so I'm assuming the more angle is here. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, that's interesting, guys. So they are slightly different. Inside here is a little rib in the middle, and on this one there's a shorter rib in the middle with a rib this way. So that tells you exactly how they go in. Okay, you just follow the way the impressions are in the foam, and it shows you exactly how it goes in. So this one with the extra, see, these have the real wide, and then these are narrow, the verticals here, or the verticals, horizontals, whatever, but they're tight here, and these are far apart. So the far apart ones go in the front, and the rib goes to this side, because that's the way the foam shows it. So that kind of takes the guesswork out of it. And then this one goes in the other way around. Just look carefully at the way the plastic is formed and the foam is on the plane, and it's self-explanatory. Just keep an eye out on that. It'll make it much easier. You'll be good to go on that one. And it's more of these little 10mm screws, same ones we've been using, and everything else. So we'll put those in here like this. Alright guys, that'll do it. And that's it. We're done. I'm not going to put the spinner on right now for obvious reasons. You guys should know better too. When I hook up the radio and run the motor and everything. I don't want the prop on it, so I'm not going to put the prop on now, or the spinner. We'll cover that. Video 3 is going to be the radio install. So that's the end of the assembly. The only thing left to do is to hook these rods, the big long ones, to connect the upper and lower ailerons together. Make sure you flex everything first, guys, especially on this one, because you're working double ailerons. One servo's working 2 ailerons, so make sure you get those. Make sure they're free. Work them a little bit. Make sure they're good. And then this rod's going to hook those together. It'll probably need adjusted, so I'll do that when I do the radio install. And then there's 2 push rods on the back. The servos are mounted in the back, so short rods in the back. Hook the tail surfaces up. Again, all that's going to happen during the radio install and the final assembly when I do that. But that's the build. It's all done. I did it without putting a scratch on it, so yay for me. Usually I have some hanger rash, but not this time. It went together beautiful. Alright guys, so that's going to do it. That's the final build on this, or the build on this. The final will be when I do the radio install and put the prop on it and put the tail rods, these short ones are the tail elevator and rudder, and then these long ones are for the upper and lower aileron connection. And then you get the I'm sure this is an aileron splitter wire. So all this stuff will be in the radio install, which is going to be coming up next. So keep your eyes out for that. Subscribe if you haven't. Comments at the bottom, and we'll catch you on the next review. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Okay, so this is the final assembly, final setup. So I'll go over everything with you. Just I balanced my prop. Always balance your prop. Balance the prop, put the spinner on. I can't spin it up because it's plugged in, but that prop's going to hit something here for sure, right? Well, it actually does miss. 94. So the prop's balanced, nice and smooth. I left the ailerons where the factory had set them. I just figured this is my first plane, my first biplane with 4 ailerons that I've flown. I have another one that's a balsa. It's a smaller balsa biplane, and it has 4 ailerons, but I haven't flown it yet, and I haven't finished setting it up or flown it, so I don't know how that one behaves. And my other biplane only has the ailerons on the bottom wing, not the top. So this was my first one with 4 ailerons. So I decided to go with the factory setting on the ailerons just to see how I like it. They could go farther than they do, but the fact that you've got 4 of them, I figured was probably enough throw. And we'll see how that works out. I did go full throws on the elevator and the rudder, just because I think that's, I like my stuff very sensitive. That's just the way I fly. I didn't put any expo in it or anything. Again, it's just the way I fly. I like my stuff very sensitive, very touchy. So, and this is an aerobatic airplane. It's not technically a 3D airplane. I don't know if it'll 3D or not. I have no idea. I'm not the greatest 3D pilot, although when I flew the Timber X, it made me look like a 3D pilot. It's a good airplane for 3D if that's what you're looking for. I like the Timber X. But we'll see how this does as far as, but it's an aerobatic airplane. That's what it was designed for, the real plane. It's an aerobatic airplane. It's designed to do aerobatics. You're going to want a lot of throw to do aerobatics. I plan to do aerobatics with it, so I gave myself maximum throw. We'll see how it works out. I think it'll be fine, because I know my QQ has more throw than this. And I love the way that thing flies, with the, you know, in the aerobatic mode. So, yeah, I would say that these throws look fine because they're not even as much as the QQ, and that thing's fantastic. So, so that's what we'll do. We'll see how that works out. I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it the way it is, but we'll see. And you know, if I decide that it needs a little expo, I'll throw some in, and we'll go from there. You know, I might have to increase the aileron throws too. I don't know, but you know, I know for sure I'm safe for my flying style. This setup will get it in the air for the maiden, and we'll be all right. And then we'll see what happens after that. So, so that's it, guys. That's the end of my my build. Everything went together. The two push rods that are back here are identical. They come pre-set, and they're wrong, so you're going to have to adjust them. But there's no, you know, this one's the rudder, this one's the elevator. They're identical, so you can put them either way. It doesn't make any difference, but you're going to have to adjust them to get them. And yeah, just get them as straight as you can. Make sure all your trims are centered up, and then get everything as centered as you can for the maiden, and see, and then you can adjust from there. And then these two that connect the ailerons again are identical, and they'll need adjusting. You know, you're going to have to adjust your ailerons. I had to adjust my ailerons a little bit. They weren't dead on, so I made the aileron servo adjustments to get them flat, and then I added these rods and adjusted them the same so that these were flat with the wing. Everything is, you know, dead zero. The elevator, the rudder, and the ailerons are all zeroed. So that's where I'm going to start, and we'll see how it does. And a couple other things. When you're installing these outer struts, you put them in the thing and they slide back. They don't click. So don't keep pushing like you're waiting for the click. They don't click in. They just like the bombs and the missiles on a wing. If you're familiar with any of that, you know, you just put them on and they slide back till they stop, and that's it. And that's the way these go on. So don't keep pushing like you're waiting for a click or anything. Just, you know, get them in their little. There's two little slots. You just put them in the slot and then slide them back, and just slide it back till it stops and you're in. That's it, and that's all far you have to go. Don't worry about that. And then these, again, I touched on it before. It's easy to get them confused, and that's why I'm telling you again, just to make sure you take the time to look at those before you put them on wrong, because you're going to probably strip a screw or damage the foam if you don't put them in the right holes. So just pay very close attention to the pattern, because they're different. They look almost identical, but there's a pattern on the plastic, okay, with wider holes and a hash mark, and the other one has narrower holes and a hash mark on the opposite side. So, and that's the way they're going to go in. The hash mark's going to be opposites on it. So just look very closely at the pattern in the plastic, and then look at the wing, because the wing's going to have a matching pattern in the foam. And that's how you can tell the orientation, which one goes where, and the orientation of it. So just look really close when you're putting these on, and make sure make sure they match. You know, the plastic matches the foam, and you'll be fine. Other than that, guys, I think the build went really well. The screws were a little confusing. You know, normally usually they have the screws separated in, you know, different bags, and this they just threw them all in one bag. So you go down the list, and the list is going to say you're going to have 4 of these and 10 of these, and you're really going to have 5 and 11. They're going to give you 1 extra on every single screw. So don't let that confuse you either. When it says 4 and you've got 5, you've got 1 extra. Okay, so match it up that way. You know, I think it comes with 10 millimeter. So you get 11 because there's an extra. But there's 10. The plane needs 10 millimeter machine screws, flathead machine screws. It needs 4 20 millimeter. You're going to get 5. I got 5, but you only need 4, and that's for the landing gear. And so you need 4 of those. The sheet says 4, but I had 5. So you know, these are the things that were making it a little confusing. Like I thought I was missing one. So that's how it works. They gave you 1 extra screw on every size. The landing gear is these tiny, tiny little white screws. Okay. You only get 2 black wood screw type, you know, sheet metal, flathead, 2 black flathead. You only need 1, and that's the one that holds the rudder in. Okay, so the rudder, not the rudder itself, but the tail wheel. Once you line, it's got a 90-degree bent wire that goes into a groove when you slide the rudder on, you know, the vertical stab. And just make sure that the pin goes into the groove, and then that wheel will slide up and down in the groove after you've attached it. And then what you want to do is you want to push it all the way up, and you're going to see there's a hole there, and the wire will go up past the hole. And when it goes past the hole, you put that 1 black screw in there, and that keeps it up there. So now it's secured up at the top, and the screw's pinching it in there where it can't come out. It can't slide down, can't come out. So that was the other one's a little confusing. The instruction manual wasn't very good on that. So make sure you, you know, once you get it, you know, in the groove, then you slide the wheel all the way up, and then you put the black screw in, and it's tapered on one side. It's got a heavy taper on one side. Obviously, you want the screw to go in from that side so that the flat head goes into the taper of the hole. And you just put that 1 screw in there, and that secures that. There's 1 more that's extra because you get 2. And the 4 tiny little silver ones are to hold the landing gear mount in the middle. Okay, and then the 10 millimeters are all over the place. They hold this wing on, they hold the bottom wing on, they hold the, there's 2 that go in the elevator to hold it on, and then there's 1 that goes in the rudder here. So that's what, 4, 8, 10, 11, okay, so maybe there's 11. You get 12. Maybe you need 11 and you get 12. I'm losing count here. I know there's only 1 here. The rest, this slides into just like, you know, it's got 1 big tongue and groove set up, and you put the rudder down into the groove, and then it slides into the grooves until it slides all the way up, and then you pin it with the 1 screw in the front. So it's got a tongue and groove here, and then a tongue and groove like the bomb drop type groove here, and it just, you put it in and it just slide it forward. None of the, you know, you don't do this, you just pop it in and then slide it forward. And then there's 1 screw that secures that. So, yeah, I think there's only, you got 4 here, 4 on the bottom, 2 on the elevator, and 1 on the vertical. So I guess there's 11 that you need. So you got 12 in the bag. You need 11 of them. And that's pretty much it, guys. I can't think of anything else to tell you. I love it. It built great. I can't wait to fly it. It looks amazing. You just can't believe how good this thing looks. It's just amazing. So, so anyway, so that's the end of the build, guys. Again, comments at the bottom. Like me on Facebook. Like me here on YouTube. And we'll catch you on the next review, which will be the Flght review coming right up after this. So we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.